Hi guys! Welcome back to Nova Gnome Creations. I'm Nova and I'm so glad that you could join me today. If this is your first time coming by, I would like to say welcome. I hope that you enjoy yourself and that you hit that subscribe button. Say hi in the comments. I always like to see who's coming around. And if you're coming back, then thank you so much for coming back. This is my Tuesday mandala blanket update. And this is for the Yarnspirations pattern by Lisa Gentry. It's called the Circular Fall Mandala Throw. And it's a crochet along also on the Crochet Crowd that is from a couple years ago, but I will link that in the description box if you're interested in it. Mikey from the Crochet Crowd does a really great crochet along for this and walks you through reading the graph or chart, whatever you want to call it, of stitches and showing like what they are, and then actually showing you with his yarn on his blanket how you do that. So it's really, really nice. It's a really good learning tool and makes it just very simple to be able to do. If you haven't seen my other videos, this is actually like the third or fourth video. I believe this is the fourth video update. In the first video, I was just talking about what we were going to be doing and stuff like that. But we are now on to the third week of actually working on the blanket. So I'm working on this as like a side thing. I'm doing other things at the same time. I'm working on amigurumi and dice bags and just like different little stuff, but also working on this blanket as like an ongoing project. And now I'm to the I'm starting to get into the wider rows. You know, as you go around a circle, it's gonna get, the rows get bigger and bigger around, so they're gonna take longer. So it's going to be a little bit less in each update, but we're not following any sort of timeline. There's no like limits, like I have to get this done by this time or anything like that. It's just, you know, work on it as I work on it organically and enjoy myself with it. So I made it to row 35, I believe. I just finished row 34. So that's how far I made it this week. And here is my blanket. It's folded right now and I'll unfold it here in a minute. But my last update, I believe I was on this green row, I believe was my last row when I updated last. So I did 1, 2, this red is actually row 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows, I think. And I actually did write down a few little notes so that I could, talk about what I did with this. So one of the first things I'm going to point out is that I actually made some, mistakes on this, and I was just like, I'm going to roll with it, and I finagled and I made it work. So let me see if I can find those spots to show you. So what happened was I got to row 30 and I did my stitch count, because I don't count my stitches every row, because I mean at row 30 it was like 320 stitches. And that's just a lot of counting and keeping track of your stitch count. Okay, here's where I had to fudge it up a bit. So I counted my stitches and I was 12 stitches short somehow when I got to this row. So you'll see first, this is what it's supposed to look like. So we're looking specifically at the red and the orange. So that's what it's supposed to look like. And then here's where I kind of had to fudge it to make it work. So you'll notice it's a little bit wonky looking. But the thing is, in the overall scheme of the blanket, you really don't notice that it's wonky looking. And what I did was I just worked on increasing my stitches. I added in an extra stitch here and there. And then as I worked out, it made it so that I had, I'm sorry, it made it so that I had to adjust as I went. So one of these little scallop type looking shapes actually has like an odd number of stitches in it. I think it's this one. I was like creating a scallop that wasn't actually there. But like I said, if you look at it closely, it looks funny. But like in the overall scheme of the blanket, you can't even tell. And that works for me. Like, I'm fine with that. I knew at some point I was gonna have something like that happen with this. It's a large project, so it was gonna happen at some point that my stitch counts would be off. And I just worked with it. Wasn't about to frog however many rows, because I don't even know when that stitch count got off. But here's my blanket right now. It's hard to stretch out a completely circular blanket, because I need, like, you know, extra hands. But yeah, so that's my progress currently. And something else that I noticed that I technically had done wrong was this slip stitch row. The first slip stitch row that I did it like this. And I was like, I noticed that my slip stitch row looked different than other people's did. Like the picture of the pattern, or the picture of the blanket. I noticed that mine looked different, and I noticed mine looked different from Mikey's, and I was like, whatever, mine looks, I like it. But when I got to the second time of doing it, all the way down here, I actually watched Mikey do it on his video, and I saw what I was doing wrong. So I actually watched it before I did my row, so I had the option to do it right this time. And I actually decided I like it better the way that I was doing it, so I decided to just do it that way. So this row is a slip stitch row, and it's like a surface slip stitch. And the way that you do it is you do, I think, I'm trying to remember, where is it written? Yeah, there it is. Okay. So for this row, you do front loop only. With the front side facing, you do front loop only. And then he shows you how to do an invisible join at the end of it, which is really cool, by the way. I would recommend watching that if you do like surface slip stitching like this, because it makes it so you don't have a spot with like where you obviously connect the beginning and end of your slip stitching. But we do front loop only for this, and then when we move on to this, which is blue in mine at the moment, you go back into that back loop. Now, let me flip this over. So this is the back of my blanket, and this little yellow line is where my slip stitches are on the front. This little yellow line between the green and the blue. The back loop is actually right here. This is the back loop. So what I was actually doing is, when you do this back loop only, there is another loop right here, which is actually the loop that you use to do your slip stitches in. And then on the other side of that is your back loop. And I was actually just connecting that next row into the same front loops that I had used for my slip stitches, but because of the way that, you know, it lines up with you having done it on the first row and then using the same loops, it still puts it like kind of behind it and like creates this surface slip stitch. And so it actually looks pretty different. Let me see if I can show you. With their colors, it's a little difficult to see, but this is the first part of the blanket, and this is their slip stitch row, and it doesn't lay like flat. Like, this is my slip stitches, Like they lay, I'll put my hand like this actually. My slip stitches are laying like flat, and then theirs are like this, if you can tell. And it's this row right here. So actually it looks different. And when I noticed him do it, I was looking at mine and I was like just gonna go into the same row that I had done it with before. And then I was like, wait a minute, that's not the row that he's using. Because my eyes, like when I looked at it, I should have taken like a little video clip to show you guys what I'm talking about, but it looked like the back loops for me. But it actually wasn't the back loops. But I was like, I thought about it for a minute and I was like, do I want to like do it the right way this time or do it the way that I did it on the first one? And I decided I liked the way that it came out on the first one. I really liked the way that, that it looks like this. So I decided to stick with it. So that's a little deviation, I guess, that I decided to do. And then also I switched my colors up a little bit here again because I really liked the way that the yellow looked for the slip stitch row. I just think that that color really pops, and I don't think that another color would look quite as good, because this, again, like lower down in the pattern, going by the order that I would have had it with my letter coordinations, this would have been blue. And I just don't think that the blue would have popped as well. So it would have been blue. I don't really remember exactly, but I switched the colors up a little bit right here in general, and then got back to my color scheme that's written down. So if you're new to this video and you haven't seen the other ones, there is a color, if I could get my pages to unstick. There is a little spot on, this is from the Crochet Crowd. You can print this out from the videos that I'm going to link below. It's like a little worksheet that you can fill out to go along with the pattern. And it has like the colors that they chose in the two different ones. This is like the original, and then this is the one that he did for his blanket. And then you can write down what you are choosing to use. So as you're going through the pattern, there are letters with each row, and then that's the color that you'll use. So like, let's just say A is red for you. Whenever you come to A, like row 30 is going to be color A. You're going to take out your color A. But I'm deviating from that just a little bit here and there. For the most part, I'm sticking to it. And you can do your blanket if you decide to do this blanket however you want. You don't have to stick to that at all if you want. You could literally just have scrap balls of yarn and do it that way, even if you wanted to. It's really customizable. And everybody's blanket looks super different. Like, even using the same colors, they come out super different. Very unique. So this is my update for this week. I'm going to post any pictures that anybody has sent in at the end of this video. Any pictures anybody has sent into my email. If you would like to send in any pictures, if you're working on this blanket along with us, my email will be in the description, and you can feel free to send them to me. And I can pop them in the video and share them with everybody. And if you just want to send them to me and you don't want me to share them, that's fine too. You could just let me know if you just want to like show me what you're doing. And I'll put your first name or whatever you tell me to put. So if you have a channel, I could put your channel name. If you want your full name, or like, you know, whatever your YouTube screen name is that people are accustomed to seeing, that's totally fine. Just let me know. But otherwise, I'll just put your first name. And if anybody is doing this, decides to do this with us and they have a YouTube channel, let me know, and I can link that too. There are two other YouTube channels that I know that are doing this blanket right now, and that is Llama Mama Kayla and Be Wowed by April Lee. I know that I have mentioned them in every video for the mandala blanket, so I've talked quite a bit about them. But if you guys want to check them out, I will have their links in the description as well. Alright guys, well, I hope everyone has a great week, and feel free to leave a comment and let me know that you stopped by. Thanks for coming by, and I'll see you next time. Bye!